Next on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
The cattle industry's annual convention was a success in Nashville. We'll tell you about important interim policies set by NCBA members. Also, we'll have an update on the cattle inventory report from the Livestock Marketing Information Center. Plus, a last-minute meal to cook for your sweetheart this Valentine's Day.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen with your host, Susie Ross.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Susie Ross. More than 6,500 cattlemen from across the nation came to Nashville last week for the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and Trade Show, one of the largest conventions in history. Cattlemen debated some tough issues at the four-day convention, with ethanol being one of the hottest topics. Soaring ethanol production has really impacted feed grain prices in recent months, creating a tough business climate for cattlemen. NCBA members voiced support for renewable fuels and reduced dependence on foreign oil, but cattlemen want to see ethanol production stand on its own without federal subsidies, and they want greater emphasis on alternative fuels that don't rely on corn and other feed grains. Expanded trade with Canada is also on the minds of cattlemen. USDA has a proposal on the table to expand imports from Canada to include cattle up to 8 years of age and beef from cattle of any age. NCBA members didn't oppose the proposal, but called on USDA to develop an orderly market transition plan, and they want permanent identification of all Canadian cattle through harvest. Cattlemen expressed caution about making any changes in the beef checkoff program. A task force recently issued recommendations for enhancing the beef checkoff, including an increase in the checkoff rate. NCBA members feel these proposals need more discussion and plan to revisit them at next year's convention in Reno, Nevada. And Agriculture Secretary Mike Johans addressed the convention. Johans unveiled USDA's Farm Bill proposals and discussed his efforts to eliminate global trade barriers. Each year, the Environmental Stewardship Awards program recognizes farmers and ranchers across the country who have made long-standing contributions to our natural resources and habitat. This year's national winner was just announced and hails from LaGrange, Wyoming, where they're taking important steps to protect the environment for future generations of ranchers.
The wide open spaces that make up Thaler Land and Livestock Company in southeast Wyoming are usually populated only by Dennis and Sandy Thaler, their daughter Brandy, and son-in-law Kevin. But on this day, the Thaler place is downright crowded. An Ag in the Classroom program has brought in more than 50 teachers from all over the state.
They were wanting to have a place to come out and show some teachers some new and different things that ranchers are doing, and we were really tickled to be able to have them out to show our place to them.
We looked at some weed projects and some of the innovative things that he does there so that we can let teachers know what ranchers are doing to better the land that they have and how they can give back and be good stewards of their land.
Telling the story of cattle ranching and stewardship is nothing new for the Thalers. Dennis is the third generation on this 20,000-acre operation that supports more than 1,500 cows and a small feedlot.
Well, I think our main goal on this ranch is to improve all of our land, get every acre as good as we possibly can do it.
My dad and I think a lot alike. We have the same goals for this ranch. Dad's taught me a lot about teamwork and working together with other organizations to keep improving and keep expanding on what's already been here.
Well, I feel that we've all worked very hard, and Dennis has worked especially hard to preserve the land, and he's always working with different entities such as the NRCS, the Department of Ag, Weed and Pest Department, to better things around here.
I don't think there's any project that he wouldn't take on to help improve the land and improve the cow herd and the ranch itself.
Maybe the biggest challenge Dennis has faced is fighting the spread of leafy spurge. One 200-acre parcel of land he bought in 1988 was overrun with the noxious weed.
When we got it, it was all leafy spurge.
This is a pretty unique situation here. It was thought out really well by Dennis and how to do it. It's taken a little bit of time to get to the point that we've gotten, but it's turned out to be one of the best projects that we've seen.
We devised a plan to go in and level this piece of ground so that we could manage our water properly. We went in and we corrugated it, and then we started irrigating it. And what our goal was the first year was to just go in and give that spurge everything that it would possibly want. We wanted to really stimulate it. And then in the fall we came in and we just hammered it with Tordon. And that really knocked it that first year. And then we continually worked with it for 2 years without irrigation. And now this field is one of our best horse hay producing fields we have on the ranch.
Another project that took huge effort and the guidance of NRCS was reclaiming a 40-acre sand dune that was on land the Thaylors leased from the state of Wyoming.
I think that's something that every rancher tries to do, is improve some of those areas that are really bad, and especially on state trust lands. We're there to take care of that land. We take care of that land just like it's ours, and we have pride in what goes on there.
And Dennis really has done a good job at taking all those things to the extreme. He works real hard to put the best system on the ground to benefit his business and improve the resources at the same time.
With rainfall under 13 inches per year, the Thaylors have made extensive use of irrigation. Their center pivot irrigated pasture allows them to intensively graze their herd, holding them off native pasture for a good part of the growing season.
We're able to go on those earlier than May 15th, and it saved our native range, so we don't have to go onto our native range until at least the middle of July. And that's a real key to building up our native range with using those practices.
Besides carefully managing their grasslands, the Thaylors have planted hundreds of trees, including one group that will serve as a living snow fence. And they've taken action to improve wildlife habitat, protect water quality, and keep the ranch sustainable on into the future.
You need to be a good steward to keep your grasses for your cattle and just to help the ranch going, but it's also bigger than that. I think it's important for the whole state and the whole country to keep your natural resources going and just keep the environment as healthy as you possibly can.
We've been here for going on 100 years, so it's a great honor for us to be able to carry on our family tradition.
This is Jim Witt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
You can learn more about the Environmental Stewardship Awards program at our website, cattlementocattlemen.org. Next on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, how the U.S. government is working to break a deadlock over beef trade with South Korea. Plus, the Livestock Marketing Information Center will update us on the cattle inventory report. And a look at the 2007 Industry Annual Convention through the eyes of a first-time attendee. But first, here's a look at this week's market summary provided by CattleFax.
Fort Dodge Animal Health knows your animals are an important part of your way of life. That's why we're committed to providing you with a complete family of livestock vaccines and pharmaceuticals to protect your investments, save you time, and ensure quality and safety in your operation. Your herd and your horses are important to you. That's why they're important to us. Fort Dodge Animal Health. For more information on our entire family of livestock products, visit us online.
Agriculture is a small portion of the population now, and if we're not working together, we're not going to get anywhere.
As our family, we cannot be in Washington, D.C. all the time, and I just couldn't live without NCBA representing.
They're looking out for our interests. They're there fighting for us every day.
If you got 1 cow or 2 cows or 100 cows, you need to be a member.
I'm a member of the NCBA because a long time ago, 35 years ago, I felt that I needed to know more of what my industry is doing. So I got started at the county level. If you're in the cattle industry, now's the time to join and let your voice be heard loud and clear.
You need NCBA working for you, and NCBA needs you. It's easy to join. Just call, get online, or talk with your state affiliate and sign up today.
You're watching NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Welcome back to Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Beef trade with South Korea is topping our news headlines this week. Officials from the U.S. and South Korea have held several days of meetings attempting to resolve the deadlock on U.S. beef exports. Without major progress on this issue, there's little chance Congress will approve a free trade agreement with Korea. Exporting live cattle to Canada will be much easier now. That's because Canadian officials have eliminated testing requirements for blue tongue. U.S. cattlemen have long viewed these tests as an unnecessary trade barrier and look forward to better access to the Canadian market. And USDA has released the annual cattle inventory report. The report shows expansion in the U.S. herd, but at a very sluggish pace.
Market Watch, brought to you by Pfizer Animal Health.
In this week's Market Watch, we are joined by the director of the Livestock Marketing Information Center, Jim Robb. Welcome, Jim. First, a little bit of information about LMIC.
The Livestock Marketing Information Center began a little over 50 years ago. It's a cooperative effort of the Western States Universities and USDA's Economic Research Service. Today we have 26 land-grant universities from the state of Georgia to the state of Washington cooperating, 6 USDA agencies, and the major livestock commodity groups, including National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
Oh. We mentioned the new cattle inventory report from USDA. Can you give us some highlights on that?
Overall, the U.S. has about 97 million head of cattle and calves, and those numbers are essentially unchanged from a year ago, and most of the categories are also about unchanged from last year, including the number of beef cows.
Any big surprises from your point of view?
I don't think any real big surprises in the short term, but if we look back 6 or 8 months, certainly the drought of 2006 had some major impacts on the U.S. cattle numbers, and those impacts are going to continue on in 2007 and 2008.
Thanks, Jim. We look forward to having you in the coming weeks.
It's been my pleasure.
Thanks. Until then, learn more about the new cattle inventory report and LMIC at lmic.info. If you aren't prepared to celebrate Valentine's with your sweetheart, the Beef Culinary Center can help.
We're going to show you a quick and easy recipe that'll certainly win the heart of your sweetheart.
Ahead, tips on how to make a great last-minute beef meal that will be sure to impress this Valentine's Day.
In 1874, an innovation changed the beef industry forever. It was called barbed wire, and it brought an end to open range grazing and began a whole new era of cattle management. Today there's another breakthrough innovation changing the beef industry. It's called Draxxin, and it's one more way Pfizer Animal Health is working with veterinarians and cattlemen to open up a whole new era in animal health. To learn more about Draxxin, talk to your veterinarian.
Purina's wind and rain minerals are research tested and field proven to provide balanced mineral nutrition essential for cattle health, growth, and reproduction. They're highly palatable so cattle consume what they need when they need it. And wind and rain mineral special formulation resists the elements so they won't blow out of the feeder and maintain their palatability even if they've been wet. Wind and rain cattle minerals from Purina Mills, building better cattle.
At the Beef and Veal Culinary Center, the Beef Checkoff's personal chefs, nutritionists, and food experts develop and test new ways to serve the beef you produce to make sure consumers have a positive beef eating experience every time.
The goal is the consumer, servicing their needs while informing them of what a great product we have.
The Checkoff-funded Beef and Veal Culinary Center, they don't make beef, they make beef better. This report brought to you by your Beef Checkoff.
You're watching NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
What are your plans for Valentine's Day?
Boy, I better make my wife happy. You know, I'm glad you brought that up. That's coming pretty close, too.
I bought her a shot glass over here with her name on it. See? I have to buy a really nice gift for the woman I love. That's my wife.
What's it going to be?
It'll be probably a really nice nightgown.
Well, it looks like the guys could use a little help. And to help make this year's celebration one to remember, Culinary Center Executive Director Dave Zinno has tips on how to make a perfect beef meal to surprise your sweetheart.
Hello, my name is Dave Zinno. I'm the Executive Director of the Beef and Veal Culinary Center located here in Chicago. And on today's show, we're going to show, this is really directed for the guys in the audience, we're going to show you a quick and easy recipe that'll certainly win the heart of your sweetheart. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with making a simple compound butter. And a compound butter is just simply taking butter and adding a few ingredients to it. We're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter that's been sitting at room temperature, 2 tablespoons of blue cheese, and 1 tablespoon of finely chopped green onions. We're going to take that and kind of stir it together here in the bowl to get it combined. And what we're going to do with this butter is that we're going to place it on the steak after it's grilled. Now you can serve the butter like this, or we can take a piece of saran wrap and then just kind of press it down and roll it up into a log. And then you can place this back in the refrigerator and let it harden up a little bit on you, and then just slice it onto your steak when you're done. The steak we're looking at here is a T-bone steak or porterhouse. And this is a great steak to serve for your Valentine's dinner because it's actually 2 steaks in one. On this side we have the top loin, also known as the New York strip, and on this side we have the tenderloin, also known as the fillet. And the difference between a T-bone and a porterhouse is the size of a tenderloin. For it to qualify as a porterhouse, this section needs to be 1.5 inches in diameter. So what I am actually holding in my hand is a porterhouse steak. And really, the great advantage that beef has is its natural flavor, so you don't have to do a lot to this steak to make it good. What we're going to do is just take some cracked peppercorn blend and just simply season the steak with this, turn it over, and do the same on this side. And we never want to salt our beef before we put it on the grill because salting will pull out that moisture. So we're ready to go to the grill. When grilling, we always want to remember to grill over medium heat. Whether you're on a charcoal grill or a gas grill, we always stress medium heat. And that's because if we go too high of heat, we're going to end up charring the beef, and the inside won't cook as evenly as we'd like. And if we go too low, we're not going to develop browning. And what browning does is it introduces flavors to the beef that's not intrinsic to the beef itself. And when cooking steaks, we always want to make sure that we cook between medium rare and medium doneness. Medium rare is 145 degrees, medium is 160 degrees. And we like it in that range because we feel that we get the best beef flavor within that temperature range. It'll take about 15 to 19 minutes to cook. Now that our blue cheese butter is made, our steak is grilled, it's time to carve our steak. And what's so nice about this is nature kind of gave us a guideline on how to carve this steak quite easily, because all we want to do is just find that bone and just take our knife and just drag it along on each side of the bone to separate the steaks into two. And now we can also season our steak. Since we've pulled the steaks off the grill, we can salt now. And salt will give it that little extra flavor boost that'll make this Valentine's Day dinner one she'll always remember. Our dinner is almost ready to be served. We've plated up our strip loin on this side and our tenderloin on that plate, and we've balanced the meal out with some simple couscous and a nice vegetable medley of zucchini, squash, tomatoes, and olives, and of course our blue cheese butter on top of the steaks. So if you haven't melted your honey's heart yet, you certainly will once she digs in. Happy Valentine's Day, and back to you, Susie.
For more on that recipe, head on over to our website at cattlemen2cattlemen.org. The Cattle Industry Annual Convention is an impressive event, especially for first-timers like me. Ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll take a unique look at the event, and I'll show you some of my experiences at the trade show. We'll be right back.
Agriculture is a small portion of the population now, and if we're not working together, we're not going to get anywhere.
As our family, we cannot be in Washington, D.C. all the time, and I just couldn't live without NCBA representing.
They're looking out for our interests. They're there fighting for us every day.
If you got 1 cow or 2 cows or 100 cows, you need to be a member.
I'm a member of the NCBA because a long time ago, 35 years ago, I felt that I needed to know more of what my industry is doing. So I got started at the county level. If you're in the cattle industry, now's the time to join and let your voice be heard loud and clear.
You need NCBA working for you, and NCBA needs you. It's easy to join. Just call, get online, or talk with your state affiliate and sign up today.
You can tell a lot about a cattleman by his cattle. Purina Accuration Feed with intake modifying technology gives cattle that uniform muscular look. It maximizes forage utilization and controls intake based on forage quality and cattle needs. It reduces labor, saves time, and helps cattle perform to their highest genetic potential, boosting your net return. Available in Accuration Cattle Limiter, Super Lick, Super Block, and Impact Starter. Accuration Feeds from Purina Mills, building better cattle.
NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, a television show by cattlemen for cattlemen.
Opryland is home to some of your favorite country and western music stars, but last week it was home to thousands of cattle industry members from across the country. Jim and Jessica Yance from Columbia, Alabama attended for the first time, and reporter Todd McCartney showed them around.
You're at home and you're working, you're getting up early and working late. It's not easy to lose sight of what else is out beyond the perimeter fence, you know.
That's true.
Because everybody's, you know, looking to make a little more money, remain profitable, cut costs, become as efficient as possible, and the only way to do that is to keep learning and keep changing your husbandry practices to make that, you know, a reality. Good to meet you.
Where are you from?
I am from near Dothan, Alabama, in the southeast corner.
Been down there a time or two, actually.
Is that right? Small world.
So what kind of cattle operation do you have?
Cow-calf
Cow-calf?
and a small seed stock. Very small.
Angus or?
Red Angus.
Red Angus, great.
Being from the southeast and not being familiar with NCBA except for the name and knowing what it meant and knowing that they were doing something for cattlemen, cattle producers, the cattle industry.
Jim, what was it that compelled you to make this trip?
Well, besides just being able to get away for a few days, just to be able to come and visit and socialize with other cattlemen from across the United States, see some old friends, make some new friends, and just be able to enjoy and look around and see, because this deal's changing so fast, our industry. It's a neat deal, and it's hard to explain to somebody, but once you experience it, I mean, it sheds a whole new light on the NCBA.
But Todd, Jim, and Jessica weren't the only ones having fun in Nashville. The 2007 Industry Convention was great. I'm already looking forward to next year's convention in Reno, Nevada. This week's legacy photos come from around the country and highlight some of what's best in our industry. Let's take a look. Send us pictures of your family and operation. Head to our website at cattlementocattlemen.org. Next week on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll explore the ethanol industry and what it means for cattle producers. Plus, we'll hear from experts about the latest in cattle reproduction. And as always, we'll have the latest news and market headlines. Thanks for joining us on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Be sure to tune in next week. A new episode airs every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on RFD TV.